This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. As one Manitoba landfill search ends, another is set to get underway. The search of the Prairie Green landfill wrapped up last week after finding the remains of 2 First Nations murder victims back in February. The focus now turning to a different site in hopes of bringing home another victim home, stirring up so many emotions. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck has more.
Happy birthday to you. I love you, my baby.
Keeping traditions alive is helping Albert and Teresa Shingoose while they wait for the province to start searching a landfill for their daughter Ashley.
I'm just trying hard to be strong.
Ashley Shingoose was identified earlier this year as the 4th woman murdered by a serial killer in Winnipeg in 2022. Police believe her remains were taken to Winnipeg's Brady Road landfill. Her parents are now in Winnipeg, a bit closer to her, after being forced to evacuate from St. Teresa Point and Nishinu Nation because of wildfire. Albert Shingoose says he hopes the search will find the remains of both his daughter and Tanya Neepanak. Neepanak's remains are believed to be at Brady after she went missing over a decade ago.
I know how it feels when you lose a daughter.
Donna Bartlett knows how it feels too.
My Mercedes. She was a sweetheart.
Her granddaughter, Mercedes Myron, was another of the 4 women killed by Jeremy Skibitsky, who was convicted of 4 counts of first-degree murder last year. Some of Myron's remains were found in the Prairie Green landfill outside Winnipeg a few months ago. That search ended last week.
It's difficult, very difficult. Still is. It's still hard to process.
Melissa Robinson's cousin, Morgan Harris's remains were also recently found in that landfill. Robinson says she learned how important it was to have supportive people around you. Now, she wants to be that for Shingoose's family.
And all we can do now as a community is be there to support them like the community supported us.
Albert Shingoose says he hopes to see the search of the Brady landfill start soon. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeggers are weighing in on an idea to ban homeless encampments in public places children gather. Some are for the idea, while others say there are bigger issues to address to end chronic homelessness. CBC's Gavin Axelrod reports.
Is this the right perfect size, eh?
Yeah.
Teresa McKay and her grandson are picking through this community garden at Vimy Ridge Park, right next to someone's home. McKay says that doesn't bother her very much.
If it's a whole bunch, then that's where I'll probably just stay away from the park.
So you wouldn't bring your grandson in?
No, I would go somewhere else.
On Thursday, Councillor Cindy Gilroy introduced a motion to bar encampments from areas where children play, like playgrounds, splash pads, and community center spaces designed for kids and their families. McKay likes the idea because she knows some people are using drugs.
I don't want to be around those kind of things. I know how they could be just so, with this meth that's going around, be so unpredictable. So that's what scares me. This is a place to play, to feel safe, and the parents don't have to be on guard.
Others see it a bit differently.
I feel like the issue of homeless encampments and safety are kind of 2 separate issues. Like, I don't really feel that it poses a safety concern to have people living in this neighborhood.
Manitoba's government has pledged to take down encampments and move people into housing. Winnipeg's mayor says he's frustrated.
I'm not satisfied with the speed at which we're getting housing made available. We need housing so people have a place to move from encampment into housing with wraparound support.
Main Street Project is also on the front lines and recently got an exclusive contract for homeless outreach in Winnipeg. Executive Director Jamil Mahmood says the protection of children in public spaces is taken seriously.
We're in a situation where we don't have enough housing, so I think we can look at how do we find solutions to make sure people are safe until the housing's built and we have enough housing for people.
In a statement to CBC News, Housing Minister Bernadette Smith says encampments shouldn't be near where children are, and they echo the mayor's frustrations, blaming the lack of affordable housing on the previous PC government. Smith says the province is working quickly to secure more affordable housing space. Gavin Axelrod, CBC News, Winnipeg.
It's not just firefighters and evacuees that are hoping for rain, but farmers. The extreme dry conditions are pushing parts of Manitoba into a disastrous drought. One municipality has already declared a state of emergency, while another a state of agricultural disaster. CBC's Chelsea Kemp has the latest.
Minto farmer Jake Eyre says farmers need the rain. Across Manitoba, moderate to severe drought, with the average precipitation about 70% below average. He says many farmers are using cash advance programs because the weather has been so unpredictable.
So it's causing people, obviously some stress. People are needing, I was going to say the number one thing is cash. If you don't have an access to a market, you can't sell your crop, you can't get paid.
The lack of rain has pushed the RM of St. Laurent to declare a state of emergency, and the RM of Coldwell has declared a state of agricultural disaster. Coldwell Reeve Virgil Johnson says hay yields are down to 25% and dugouts are drying up. He wants the province to step up and help.
On them to put programs out like governments have done in the past, so that's what we're hoping for. As an RM, there's not a lot of, it's a smaller RM, the money isn't there to, still hand out mega thousands of dollars for farming or any other thing actually, but
Eyre's crops are anywhere between 30 to 70% below average moisture. He says farming has become a balancing act of diversifying crops for all types of weather.
Spreading that risk out instead of putting it all into, say, canola or wheat, splitting it up, doing corn, edible beans, soybeans, just trying to think that, okay, well, if we get one weather pattern, it might be a little more favorable than another for other crops.
A spokesperson for Manitoba Agriculture told CBC the province is in discussions with several farmers and municipal officials in the Interlake region. They say they are monitoring the situation and will work and support producers and farmers. Chelsea Kemp, CBC News, Minto.
Let's bring in weather specialist Riley Lachuk. And Riley, I can see some storm activity behind you. Lots of people hoping for that rain.
Yeah, and unfortunately no real measurable rain in the forecast, Brittany, at least for eastern parts of the province. We will get some rain into the west as we get through the weekend. I'll go into detail on that a little bit later in the show, but yes, we have seen some severe thunderstorm warnings in place around the Swan Valley through the afternoon hours, some heavier pockets of rain through Dauphin, into Swan River through the afternoon, and even back into the Interlake, seeing, as expected, some thunderstorm activity. No current warnings in place. The rest of us under a mix of sun and clouds throughout the afternoon, and a blanket of air quality warnings across much of central and northern parts of the province. As we get through the weekend, I do expect that we'll see these warnings, or at the very least some statements, shifting a bit further south, because we are looking at a shift in winds as we get into the day on Saturday, and that will introduce a bit more haze and a bit more smoke into southern Manitoba as we get through the weekend. So Saturday, 26 degrees, smoky but mainly sunny. We're looking at that air quality health index at around 8, Brittany, as we get through the day. I'll talk about that and the rain that we're expecting in parts of the province when I come back.
All right, thanks, Riley.
Welcome.
Well, for some Indigenous people, braids are a symbol of strength and wisdom, something that reflects their identity. So when a 12-year-old basketball player was told to tuck his braid into his jersey by a referee, it didn't sit quite right. CBC's Zubina Ahmed has more.
Some of the things that you've experienced, we've went through as well.
Hours before the Seabears game at the Canada Life Centre, a group of Indigenous youth from a North End basketball team were given an awareness session about the importance of Indigenous braids and culture. It comes following an incident back in May at a minor league game. 12-year-old Brian James was asked to tuck his braid into his jersey by the referee.
I didn't think it was right because I play other sports, and this had never happened before.
Cheryl James says her son, who only started wearing a braid 2 years ago, was deeply hurt by the way he was singled out.
It was hard for me to, as a parent, as a mom, knowing that somebody was discriminating against my son because of something that was new for him, that he was just experiencing as well.
Since then, Cheryl got the support from the Manitoba Aboriginal Sports and Recreation Council to push for cultural awareness amongst coaches.
I sent a message to the coach and I said, there's no rules there's no rules with this. When something needs to be done, this is not okay. These spaces need to be safe for our children. especially our boys with braids and boys who wear their hair differently.
Damon Morissette, one of the founders of the Warriors basketball team, says braids hold a strong cultural significance.
When we braid our hair, it's basically reminding ourselves to be kind to ourselves, to look after our mind, to look after our heart, to look after our body so that we have a strong spirit, so that we're good relatives, we're good sons, we're good community members, we're good friends. So it really is an extension of our spirit.
James says she hopes her son gets an apology from the referee. She says there's a training module for coaches and she'd like for referees to receive the same type of cultural training. Zabina Ahmed, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Wildfires continue to rage around the province and hotel rooms are at a premium. Why one mayor is asking evacuees to help free up some space. Straight ahead. Wildfires continue to threaten the community of Thompson, and the mayor says they need to free up more hotel rooms for crews that are battling them. The closest fire now burning at more than 16,000 hectares. The city is asking evacuees staying in its hotels to move to congregate shelters in Winnipeg. The mayor says hundreds of evacuees from Pimicikamak and Tatasquiat Cree Nation are taking up space in hotels, which means space is limited for those in town actually fighting the fires. She says if nothing changes, the city will use its state of emergency powers to claim rooms.
We do have the ability to claim rooms where we need them. If the hotels can't find them on their own, we can go in and do that. We don't want to, but that's just a reminder of why we need evacuees to be moved on to their own sites, is that we do need the hotel rooms for their firefighting efforts.
She also worries about getting the evacuees out of Thompson if the entire city is forced to leave due to wildfires. Meantime, one Grand Chief says more firefighters will be needed in seasons to come. But with our province's fire rangers among the lowest paid in the country, recruitment could be difficult. The CBC's Matt Humphrey explains.
As wildfire bears down on his northern Manitoba communities, Island Lake Grand Chief Alex McDougall thinks more boots on the ground would have been a game changer.
We wouldn't have that fire threatening our communities. We wouldn't have these thousands of people of our communities being displaced from their homes and into large urban areas where sometimes they're not welcome.
Manitoba is experiencing its worst fire season in 30 years. The province says it'll do a review, and climate change could mean more active fire seasons to come. McDougall hopes for bigger teams to respond to fires quicker.
Where there is smoke, there is fire, and that we would deploy people to go and put it out right away. Right now, the policy is just to let it burn and watch it and see what happens.
The province tells CBC News it has 58 full-time fire rangers and more than 300 seasonal personnel. Their union, the MGEU, says this year they have 238 fire ranger members, roughly the same amount since 2009. Union President Kyle Ross says it can be difficult to recruit.
Not everybody's going to go and want to jump out of a helicopter and be dropped off in the bush and fight a fire.
Provincial fire crews are augmented by other jurisdictions, but Ross questions how the province can grow its own force to respond quicker if fire rangers can make more money elsewhere. Government of Canada numbers show Manitoba fire rangers make some of the lowest pay in the country, $13 an hour less than they would in British Columbia, for example, where many more rangers are employed.
They go for BC, Alberta, places, Ontario, where they pay more, right? So we train them, they get the experience here, and they say, well, I don't have a lot of ties to the province. They move out of the province.
Natural Resources Minister Ian Bushy says a review of the season could mean more firefighters going forward.
And that'll be part of the assessments as well too, to be able to say where can resources be deployed in a very kind of strategic manner, but at the same time being able to address the needs across the province. And maybe this is now our new normal potentially. So how do we address that in a really meaningful way?
Chief McDougall praises the province for how efficient it was once his community's evacuation got going, but thinks more firefighters available to go in quicker could have avoided the evacuation entirely.
It would have meant that our community members staying at home.
Matt Humphrey, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Dozens of volunteers from the United States have deployed to Winnipeg to help provide shelter services for evacuees. With more than 12,000 people out of their homes already, expanding capacity to host them is a priority. CBC's Justin Fiacconi has more.
In red vests and packs in hand, American Red Cross volunteers have arrived in Winnipeg to assist with the establishment of Canada's first mega shelter. The current wildfire season in Manitoba has been labeled the worst on record in the past 30 years. Melanie Soler is the Vice President of Emergency Management at the Canadian Red Cross. She says the call to her American counterparts was to help establish a facility that could scale to thousands of beds and services for evacuees.
So the province endeavored to make plans to accommodate at least 10,000 people through congregate shelter. And in order to achieve that, we had to, for the first time in Canada, open what we call a mega shelter.
The facility has enough space to temporarily house roughly 4,000 people. These types of shelters are meant to act as small cities, offering support services typically provided by a government or a community organization, though establishing this type of facility requires a certain level of expertise. Ann Palmer is a lead with the American Red Cross and in Winnipeg to help provide that expertise.
Primary service that we deliver almost every day in the United States is congregate sheltering. Like right now we have 10 shelters open, congregate shelters in the United States.
Palmer says the American volunteers were handpicked based on their experience with congregate sheltering at a large scale and a familiarity with working with the Canadian Red Cross. One of those volunteers is Roxanne Morse. From California, she started volunteering in 2017 when wildfires blazed through Northern California.
Responding to large-scale wildfires and other disasters is very personal to me, very important for me. When the opportunity came to help Canada, I was a yes.
There are 122 American volunteers here in Winnipeg to run the day-to-day operations at the mega shelter. That's in addition to hundreds of Canadian Red Cross personnel already volunteering, many of whom have been helping since the third week in May. Justin Fiacconi, CBC News, Winnipeg.
I have a weather photo to show you. This is Bandit from Inwood, Manitoba, helping with the haying in the field. Some dry weather, good for that, although we certainly need quite a bit of rain across the province to get us back toward normal. So here's where we are in terms of our normal precipitation. This is a map from Manitoba Agriculture. This takes us from May 1st up to this week, and you can see much of the Interlake where we were looking at that agricultural state of disaster earlier, and into parts of Westman, which are below 50% of our normal precipitation for this time of the year, and that condition persists up into the parkland, into the Swan Valley, although we do have some pockets where we are a bit closer to normal. We do have a bit of rain in the forecast as we get into the coming days here, which I'll get to for parts of western Manitoba. Looking at our upper level winds, a bit of lift into some of this trough still existing, which has kept our temperatures a touch cooler than seasonal once again through the afternoon hours. But out of some of this, and we've seen some of that already, the potential for some thunderstorms as we get into the evening hours. So at the surface, high pressure pushes out. Still a mainly sunny sky, albeit smokier as we get into the day on Saturday. You will start to see a leading edge here of some cloud cover that starts to build in as we get later Saturday into Sunday. And this spreads a pretty good area of rain into western Manitoba and down into south central parts of the province as we get into the day on Sunday. Some of this, a slim chance of which does get into the Red River Valley. So I do have a slim chance of showers in the forecast for Winnipeg as we get into the afternoon hours on Sunday. A better chance, though, back into the west and into the early part of Monday morning, a good chance that we'll see a few sprinkles, at least here in Winnipeg, with the risk of thunderstorms as we get into early next week as well. What this translates to in terms of rainfall, looking at a general, I think, 5 to 10 millimeters, some pockets, especially into Westman, where we could see up to 20 plus millimeters in thunderstorms as we get into the weekend. So keep that in mind as we get into the next couple of days, that you could run into some scattered thunderstorms or some pockets of rain, particularly the further west you are. So temperatures as we get into the weekend, 25s through Brandon, through Portage La Prairie, 26 in Winnipeg, up to 28 in Thompson under a mainly sunny sky. And into Sunday, temperatures a bit cooler, 25 in Winnipeg, but 19s and 20s into the west. I'll have your 7-day forecast coming up in a bit.
Show. Stephen Colbert, who's hosted since 2015, shared the news Thursday night.
Next year will be our last season. The network will be ending The Late Show in May. And
it comes just days after Colbert spoke out against CBS's parent company, Paramount Global, after it settled a lawsuit with Donald Trump. The company agreed to pay $16 million after the U.S. president's legal team claimed a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris was edited to paint her in a positive light. In a statement, CBS says the Colbert decision is purely financial. The Late Show is currently the most watched late-night program.
All right, another Friday where I felt like doing Feline Friday ×2. So here we go. A couple of cats for you. This is Milo. Thank you, Viv and Elton, for this picture. Looks very comfy in the box. I love the added touch with that one. And we have Maui from Africa. Looks very comfortable as well on the carpet. You can send your pictures to talkback@cbc.ca, looking at smokier conditions as we get through the day tomorrow. 26 degrees in Winnipeg, although a mainly sunny sky as we get through the day. It's that northeast wind that will bring in some of that smoke and haze from wildfires in the province. So 25 degrees as we get through Sunday into Monday with some unsettled weather pushing in. And then we get some clearing into Tuesday and temperatures getting back up into the high 20s through Thursday and Friday. Scientists in England are about to melt a sample of the world's oldest ice for climate analysis.
It's a 1.5 million year old core taken from deep inside an Antarctic ice sheet.
So this is a really exciting project to work on because we really are exploring a completely unknown time in our history, and what we're hoping is we're going to unlock all these amazing secrets.
Now, the ice core is believed to contain important info about Earth's climate history during a previously uncharted period. Scientists say the sample, drilled from a depth of 2.8 kilometers, holds atmosphere captured more than 1 million years ago.
They say that during that time, there is evidence to suggest that the ice sheets were actually smaller, sea levels were potentially higher, and carbon dioxide levels were similar to what they are today.
I just can't imagine holding something that old.
Yeah.
Maybe not holding it, but being near it. Right? It'll cool you off during this weather, right?
Exactly.
You might need some ice to keep cool over the weekend.
Yeah.
Have a wonderful time. We'll see you back here on Monday. Maybe not 1.5 million years old.
Maybe not.